Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Monday, January 15th, and a happy Martin Luther King Day to all of those with us. Frank Granito alongside Kevin Coleman in studio, as we've got plenty to cover today, including a big doubleheader from this past Saturday at the Darien Ice House. Two of the top 5 teams in boys hockey falling. We've got plenty of other FCIAC to catch up with. Officials versus Cancer from from Fairfield, I should say, is Trumbull and St. Joe's squared off in boys and girls hoops. We've got Athlete of the Week winners, Athlete of the Week nominees. Plenty to do, Kev, on a busy, busy Monday.
Yeah, busy Monday, and of course we saw 2 great hockey games on Saturday. We got treated to some great hockey Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. 2 fantastic games. New Canaan makes it 3 in a row. Dylan Shane continues to be the big story. 19 saves for him. And a big win for Darien. What a phenomenal game. Good performance they put on after losing that outdoor game a couple weeks ago to Grange.
There's going to be plenty of storylines within those games to dive into. As you mentioned, Dylan Shane, his 3rd game started, his 3rd win of the season. That Darien Greenwich game will break down as well. Emotions high again. And as big of a win as it is for Darien, there are some underlying concerns there for Coach Mac Budd's Blue Wave roster.
Yeah, there are. And, things definitely got heated, especially ice level. And both teams playing with a lot of emotion. They know this is a big game for both teams. And there's respect on the coaching level and the player level. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, players shake hands. But during the game on the ice, it got pretty intense at times.
I'm convinced now that you must be the most popular man in the FCIAC, and I'm missing something, and all these hockey guys just want to spend time with you. Like that to me is what it has to be. So.
I think I've become, I think the relationship I've gained with, especially the Darien boys.
Gosh.
They're good guys, and they have a lot of fun, but I'm sure Coach Mac Budd doesn't want to see them in the penalty box for much longer.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into our Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Ortho CT. We have our Week 1 winners for the winter season. First up, let's congratulate Aisling McGuire of the Trumbull girls basketball team. McGuire, who scored 11 points for the unbeaten Eagles in a 48-37 win over Stanford last Saturday. She came back, added 9 points Wednesday then, as Trumbull escaped Darien with a 49-41 victory. And sticking with that Trumbull theme, Taman William makes it an all-Eagles winners week, as Taman scored 29 on 10 baskets, 3 of them from behind the three-point line, and 6 for 6 at the free throw line, leading Trumbull past Stanford 73-57. The Eagles then also topped Darien 76-59 last Wednesday. Taman going off for 27 in that game. So a big, big week for Taman Williams and Aisling McGuire. Congrats again to those winners. And now for our Week 2 nominees, we will start with our Female of the Week nominees. And for that, Kevin has your first one.
Thank you, Frank. Starting things out with Fairfield Ward girls basketball, Olivia Parisi. Parisi had 20 points, 11 steals, and 8 rebounds for Ward in the Mustangs' 60-30 victory over Bridgeport Central on Friday.
All right, our first male nominee is from Fairfield Ward as well. Sean Conway scoring 29 points, 14 of them in the 4th quarter, in Ward's 60-53 victory over Bridgeport Central. Conway also scored 27 points in an 83-63 win over St. Joe's on Tuesday.
Yeah. Going to girls hockey, SWS girls ice hockey, Jessica Shue. Shue scored 3 goals and had an assist in Stanford West Hill Staples Trinity Catholic's 8-2 victory over Wilton Norwalk McMahon on Wednesday, which was on the HAN Network. But Frank, who you got next?
I'm going to stick with hockey. Let's go to New Canaan. Dylan Shane, the junior goaltender, in his first week as a varsity starter, the junior guiding the Rams to a perfect 3-0 record, including his first career shutout on Wednesday. Shane and New Canaan picked up their first win of the season, 4-2 over West Hill Stanford on Monday. They shut out Simsbury 2-0 on Wednesday and defeated the former runner-up in the state tournament last year, Northwest Catholic, 3-1. With Shane leading the way with 19 saves on Saturday.
Moving over to New Canaan girls ice hockey, Gianna Bruno. Gianna scored twice and had 2 assists to help lead the Rams over SWS in a 5-1 victory on Saturday. The win makes it 8 in a row now for the New Canaan Rams.
Scott Cunningham of the Wilton boys basketball team is next. The senior scored 25, including 6 3-pointers, along with 6 assists and 4 rebounds in Wilton's 86-65 win over Staples last Tuesday. 4th straight 20-plus effort for Cunningham, Kev. He's averaging nearly 25 points per game and 4 3-pointers at this moment in time.
And we're moving over to Darien girls skiing. Sammy Lindell, the sophomore Lindell, took first place for the second time in 2 meets at last Wednesday's race in Mount Southington. For the second race in a row, she was the only racer out of a field of 90 girls to go under 44 seconds for a combined 2 runs.
And the Eagles possibly not done yet, because junior co-captain Chris Brown gets the nominee this week, scoring 24 points, 11 in the fourth quarter in Trumbull's 63-61 victory over St. Joe's on Saturday. Brown was 9 of 17 from the floor, 2 3-pointers, 5 rebounds, 2 apples, 5 steals, 5 blocked shots. He had 17 points and 7 rebounds and 7 assists earlier this week in a 55-41 victory over Staples. He also had 14 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists in a victory on Tuesday over McMahon, 67-54. Those are all of your nominees for week number 2 of the winter season. You can go online at 3 p.m. this afternoon, and our poll will be up and ready for your votes. You'll have until Sunday night, so make sure you get your votes in on who you want the Week 2 Athlete of the Week to be for the HA Network, brought to you by Ortho CT. Kev and I are going to take a break here on Nutmeg Sports, but when we get back, we'll start looking at highlights and breaking down some of the hockey that we saw this weekend at the Darien Ice House. That's next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Voted Best Gourmet to Go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
Yeah, Dad.
Kyle, I need you to update the financial statements.
I took care of that yesterday, Dad.
Mac, I need you to get those deals approved.
They're all done, Mr. Miller.
Jeff, I need you to order lunch for the meeting. They can't do a thing without me.
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
I'm never going to retire.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
Back on the HAN Network, Nutmeg Sports with Frank Granito and Kevin Coleman, as we are looking back on our coverage of the hockey doubleheader this weekend at the Darien Ice House. We'll start with the nightcap, the Darien Blue Wave hosting the number 5 ranked team in the state, Kev, the Greenwich Cardinals. They were previously undefeated. The Blue Wave come away with a 3-2 victory, big late goal off the stick of Captain Hunter Hazelton. But before we get to all of that, there is a big issue in Darien right now, and Coach Bud knows it too, but this team, they showed how good they can be. There's a lot of bright spots. They have very good defensemen that are playing strong. Their forwards are starting to come into their own, and Henry Feifel is going to be a top goalie in this conference when it's all said and done. But this is a team, if they're in the playoffs, you're not going to be able to win big games taking 12 to 15 penalties a game. You just can't do it. And it's frustrating. A lot of it is after the whistle. It's emotions that are running high at times, and someone in that locker room right now needs to calm everyone down and say, guys, we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot and cost us a game that we can't afford to lose if we keep doing this.
Yeah, it's got to be coming from Dixon and Hazelton, and the two captains have to take control here sometimes. And you're right, a lot of these penalties are coming after the whistle. And by the end of the second period, I think the penalties were around 13 to 14 by the end of the second period. That's a lot of penalties, and it's a continuing thing now for the Darien Blue Wave. They're always going to have someone in the box. There's always, and you got to give them credit because they did a great job on the penalty kill against a very talented Greenwich team. And I thought what was key was getting that first goal in the first period. That was really massive for Darien to get momentum on their side and go up 2-0. Kind of, Greenwich, saw themselves in a little bit of a hole there. Got to give the Cardinals a lot of credit in that second period. I thought they skated really well, did a nice job on the forecheck, causing turnovers in the Darien own end, and then they're able to tie things up at 2-2. And it was a good battle there at the end of the second period and all the way throughout the third period. And you got to give Feifel a lot of credit. He made some great saves in those final 3 minutes, especially that last minute too. A lot of traffic in front of the net. Those final 60 seconds or so. And a big goal by Hunter Hazelton. The guy plays with a lot of chip, big chip on his shoulder. A good guy, a good defenseman, and it's a good win for Darien. I think that boosts their confidence. But again, when is the message going to be sent that they have to stop being in the penalty box?
Now they're not the only culprits in this game because Greenwich was equally as just loose with the rules after the whistle. And honestly, at the end of the day, the Cardinals may have had more penalties, total penalties. Penalty minutes is going to go against Darien because of the Max Sharp major for boarding there. And great kid. Max Sharp is a very good hockey player. That's just a play right there. Emotions got the better of him. There's no room for that in the game of hockey, and we'll leave it at that. That's all there is to it. Don't need to touch upon it again. But that's a game where Darien probably could have been up 3-4-0 by the end of that second period with the way they played in the first, if they don't get into it after the whistle with Greenwich as much as they did. And the Cardinals players were not that much better. We saw Nick Pelletier-Martinelli take a bad penalty after the whistle, which he's not used to doing. Matt Bogger almost got ejected at one point in time for slamming his stick after taking another emotional penalty. I get it. It's a rivalry, all right? And these are two teams that it was very physical. They compete hard against each other. But it was borderline just anarchy at periods of time in that game after the whistle.
I know, I completely agree with you, and I'm sure both coaching staffs will look back at the tape and agree too. I think at times both coaches weren't happy with what they were seeing on the ice, but the Matt Bogger incident when he slammed his stick, you could tell Coach Rurik was not pleased with him.
No, and
no coach would be.
It's not the first time that Bogger has had some words or extra emotions he's wanted to express in front of the officials. Listen. Neither team is innocent. Neither team is guilty. We're pointing out facts here. Both these teams really needed to reel it in, and it's a shame because it overshadows, again, what was a great hockey game.
Right.
Similar to what we saw in that outdoor game in times where it just got too sloppy. Let's look at the highlights from Saturday's Blue Wave win, and we'll continue to break it down after this.
Couple more checks thrown here. Colombo. Couldn't win that race. Sharp with it. Out for Gregory. Lets the wrister go. He scores!
Credit that goal to Stein there, keeping that puck in.
He had a goal back in the outdoor game from the point, and the junior defenseman tallies another as Gregory breaks through, and it's a 1-0 Blue Wave lead. All right, so we are back underway. Now it is a 5-on-4 power play for the Blue Wave. 3:30 to go in the period. 1:15 on this power play. As Hathaway to the slot, McCorney shoots, he scores! What a look by Hathaway to the far side, and Picorni able to finish it as a 2-0 Darien lead. Puck skipped over Hathaway's stick. Bogger on it there. Looking up ice, and instead will keep it himself. Bogger with it to the middle, trying to get through a sea of white jerseys. Big shot here, Graves scores! Back to Kovalev. All the way down behind the end line. Left it on the boards, and Mojian over to help. Mojian to Davey. Bogger wanted it, turnaround shot by Davey. Stuff attempt, once, twice, scores! Hazelton shoveled that one back down the wall. We're back to even strength. Hazelton waits, winds up, save, score!
I'll give a lot of credit to William Johnston there for just making things happen out in front of the net there.
He was screening Nash the whole time. It looked like Nash may have gotten a piece of that original shot, but the captain Hazelton on the board, and it is a 3-2 Blue Wave lead. Davey to the front of the net. Gregory lost it to the corner. There's 12 seconds to go as Picorni skated over that one. Out to the point. Down behind the net, Kovalev. Fermosian out in front. It's loose with 3. Towards the empty net and 1, and it is over.
Raucous celebration here for a regular season game.
So a big win for Darien. You can see there, Kev, there's a lot of speed on display. Both teams scored goals in front of the net. There was a lot of traffic. It was great hockey at times, and it's a reason why both of these teams are going to be heavy favorites in their first-round matchups of FCIAC, in their first-round matchups of states. And if they get the right draw, they're teams that can make a deep run in these tournaments.
They are, and we can only hope we get to see these two teams again in the FCIAC tournament. And you look at that goal by Picorni. That was one of my favorite finishes, going top corner. James Gregory again, another
Top
player.
corny.
Sorry,
Top corny.
sorry. Still learning my hockey lingo here.
No, Picorni, top. Yeah,
For James Gregory, though, excellent defenseman. I think this kid at times can be one of the top defensemen in the entire conference. I think he's a good size, good height, good slap shot, and this guy, terrific defender. Again, a good performance by him. Another good goal for James Gregory. He's another player that I think needs to be continue to be a vocal leader. He is on the bench. He is on the ice. So a good performance from James Gregory. I think he deserves some credit there.
All right, moving forward now. Greenwich, a big game on Wednesday from Dorothy Hamill. They get Ridgefield riding their 5-game win streak. On the other side, Darien will take on Staples. We got to take one more break on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, we'll look at our other game from Saturday and break down some of the other FCIAC action that took place this weekend. That's next on the HAN Network.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
At Rings End, we say it's time to re-love your home. Time to refresh and reinvigorate the way you live. And whether you're redoing something big or small, remember the letters RE stand for Rings End. We're the new model in home remodeling.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports. It is Monday, January 15th on the HAN Network. Frank Granito with Kevin Coleman. Looking back on our weekend of hockey action here. Game number 1 we saw on Saturday, a rematch of last year's Division I semifinal. New Canaan taking on Northwest Catholic. Potentially a preview of a first-round matchup right now. Northwest Catholic coming in ranked number 4 in Division I. New Canaan was 13. But the Rams, a different team since the start of this past week. Now 3-0 with Dylan Shane in goal as they picked up a 3-1 victory on Saturday against the Lions. And Kev, the big thing for me, as confident as Dylan Shane is playing now, and how great as he has been in between the net, the team itself just looks like they are much more calm on the ice. They're being smart with the puck. They're not making careless decisions. Less turnovers equals less goals against, and they're starting to get some depth scoring. Chase Glover, the captain, scoring as well. Jack O'Hara, big goal. So things are starting to fall into place here for the Rams.
No, they are, and the one thing that I'm glad you mentioned is the turnovers on their own end, I think. And then speaking of Coach Clark Jones, he mentioned how he's happy to see that the turnovers on their own end has stopped these last 3 wins. And you know what? Maybe this Dylan Shane move is a little bit of a rallying cry as well. This motivates the team, gets the team a little bit more loose in the locker room and a lot more comfortable on the ice. And you're seeing that. They're skating. It's just a different feel when the Rams are on the ice now, especially what I saw on Saturday against one of the top teams. You know, you mentioned Northwest Catholic, a very strong team here in Connecticut hockey. And they went out. I thought they were the much better team. They skated hard, you know, getting good pressure on Northwest Catholic skaters. Again, another great performance. And Dylan Shane, out of those 19 saves, a good amount of those were some unbelievable saves that, you know, you kind of eye-opening as well. So a good performance from New Canaan. You know, this is a different team now. What if, this is a team that if they get into the FCIAC tournament, maybe in the state tournament, this could be a very scary team to face up against in that early round matchup.
Let's look at the highlights, and then we'll continue to look forward on New Canaan's season as they took down the Lions 3-1 on Saturday.
Looking up ahead, there was contact in the neutral zone. No call, though, as they play on. McMahon dancing down the sideboards. Goes behind the net. Here's Bennett Ong with a shot. It's loose in front. Poked at and scores! Arnone on the doorstep was able to convert. They party in front of the student section, and it's 1-0 Rams.
Tremendous work there by New Canaan. They earned that goal.
It's Esposito with it. Towards the front, deflected, race to the half wall. And able to control was Macari. Behind the net, Horn. Out in front. Horn, the quick shot, and scores!
Northwest Catholic today.
A puck and a shot, it's in the net!
Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness! Exactly how you had to draw it up. 3.6 seconds remaining when they dropped the puck, and it just squeaked through the legs of Caliph with half a second now remaining on the clock. Trailing the play is Horn as Melanson behind the net. Ives muscling him off it. Kerr got it up to Augustine. Far side, it's Glover in on the break. He's got the empty net in front of him. The captain shoots, he scores. It's 3-1 Rams.
Big win for the Rams. And as we mentioned, Kev, they're starting to piece things together. 3 wins in a row. They've got a big game today up at Xavier. But if they're smart with the puck, they don't try to skate outside of themselves. They give themselves a great chance. In a lot of their games moving forward, before the end of the month, they're going to see Greenwich, Notre Dame of Fairfield, and Ridgefield again. I think those will be real big tests for them to see where they stack up compared to what we saw those first few weeks of the season.
Yeah, I want to see how they match up against Greenwich. And, of course, the big game today against Xavier, I think, if they continue to play the way they do, this is a good opportunity for New Canaan this afternoon. I think that if they get a win against Xavier, make it 4 in a row, you get that confidence just continues to grow. And you're right, that game against Greenwich, I'm curious, just as much as I'm curious about Wednesday, to see how Ridgefield matches up with Greenwich, and Greenwich coming off the loss, want to see how they respond. So big games coming up in FCIAC hockey these next couple of weeks, and New Canaan is definitely going to be a big story in these next couple of weeks as well.
Speaking of big hockey games, a big rivalry game taking place this past week, and unfortunately, our director Steve Gutman's prediction of a clean Trumbull sweep on the weekend fell short after St. Joe's defeating Trumbull 3-1 in boys hockey. Big story in this game, Chris Higgins, 51 saves for the Cadets as they roll to that 3-1 victory. That's a big win for St. Joe's too, who had been struggling a little bit early on. Those are games outside of Division I. They need to find ways to win, and they did well there to do so, Kev.
They did. Higgins, 51 saves. Great performance by him. That's a big win for St. Joe's. Obviously, a little bit of a slow start for the Cadets, but to see them bounce back in a big way like that against a rival is big for this program.
Don't worry, Trumbull was able to get the victory in boys hoop, 63-61. We mentioned Chris Brown, that big game in the officials versus cancer matchup. The girls squad also getting the victory, 49-32 in their matchup. New Canaan with a win over RHAM, 52-45. Excuse me, Ram, not John Rahm the golfer, Mike. And then also, I think this is an impressive win. Ridgefield 5-1 over Glastonbury in boys hockey. The Tigers 5 wins in a row now, continuing to play well since that tough loss to Prep on opening night, Kev.
Frankly, I'm surprised. Being at that game against Prep to start the year, wasn't sure what to expect after that loss, but big win for the Tigers. Want to see how they respond on Wednesday against a big game against Greenwich.
Staples staying hot in boys hockey as well. They had a 6-1 win over Norwalk McMahon. That's going to do it for Nutmeg Sports today, Kev. But we want everyone to stay tuned with us through the early part of tomorrow. We're supposed to be at Ridgefield High tomorrow night for girls basketball when the Tigers host the Greenwich Cardinals. Obviously, with impending weather, that game potentially going to be postponed or moved. Make sure you're following along on all of our sites. Follow Nutmeg Sports and AJ Network at Twitter. We'll keep you up to date on everything you need to know. And of course, Kate Plenty's back, 11 a.m. coffee break right here on the AJ Network. For Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. That's going to do it for Nutmeg Sports. We'll see you tomorrow.